Let's run the fucking ball. Why didn't you just take a fucking knee?
This ends up on Pornhub. Sorry for your weird masturbation session.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the show. It's been a while. We're gonna try to talk about some things. There's not a lot going on, but we'll talk. I know that free agency is just around the corner. The CBA, collective bargaining agreement, is up for discussion, and we'll talk a little bit about the XFL. We'll actually start off with the show with the XFL, but first let me introduce everybody. I have Sarah and Bobbitt with me, and Heather, of course. Coop will probably be back. It's just going to take some time, I think. He's taking care of some business. So that being said, Sarah, Bobbitt, how you doing? I know how Heather's doing. I ain't going to ask her.
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing all right. Bobbitt, how about yourself? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, bro. Just ready to talk football with you.
Okay. So, like I said, we'll try to keep it about an hour, but if we go a little bit over, it's fine. I don't want it too long because then we won't have anything to talk about next week. We'll try to do this once a week. Not huge into the free agency thing. They just look, okay, Green Bay signed this guy, they signed this guy. It is what it is. Because for me, free agents, to be honest with you, you sign them and half of them don't pan out because they now are out there with that big payday and now they're just going to slough off. I've seen it happen numerous times. That's why I don't go buy into free agency unless you find that gem. And really, to be honest with you, with free agency for me, there really hasn't been a big-time free agent that has signed with a team that has turned that franchise around or made that franchise better than what it was. I mean, name me a guy the last time that they signed a guy and the franchise just completely turned around.
Trying to think here, like maybe. Well, this year was due to there was a good trade with Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, that's a trade, but that's not free agency.
Um.
And if you have to think, it probably hasn't happened. I'm being honest, but we'll talk.
You're going wrong.
We'll talk. But we'll start off with the XFL. So I haven't been watching it because I've been kind of busy with other things with Wendy and Heather and all that stuff and doing family things. So I've been kind of taking a break from streaming in general because wrestling fucking sucks. But we'll talk about that at another time. If you want to find out what we're talking about, talk about it on the Horny Goat. Every time somebody says it was a good match, I say, really? Was it? But anyway, so we'll talk about the XFL. I mean, I'm going to watch the XFL, just not going to watch too much into it because I don't have a team that I have really grown attached to, so I really don't buy into it. But what is out there as far as what's going on with the XFL? Sarah?
Well, the Houston Roughnecks are looking about the best team, really.
Okay.
In the XFL.
I did hear, speaking of Houston, I did hear that there was a bit of controversy. Bobby, you brought that to my attention, did you not?
Oh, yeah. It was the,
I'm sorry,
it was
Sarah.
that one game.
Yeah, it was this past weekend's game against Tampa Bay. Apparently, there was a play where the guy was called down, right? And it was a fumble. Clear fumble, and they didn't overturn the call. Apparently, am I right in that?
No, what it was is the game was clearly over, and the game was the ball was supposed to go back to the other team, and they just ended the game.
Okay. So there's a bit of controversy. I don't know if there was an appeal. Yeah, I don't know if there was an appeal or not, but or if they will be an appeal. I know that the XFL front office came out and said yes, it was wrong, and they didn't say it as far as I know. So, but anyway, moving on. Go ahead, sir.
I think the top three teams that I've seen that have been playing really well are like the Roughnecks, the Defenders, and the Battlehawks.
Yeah. Now, Roughnecks. The who? The who?
The DC Defenders,
Oh, okay. The
and then the
Roughnecks.
St. Louis Battlehawks.
Now I know DC got beat by a team that wasn't very good this year. I think that was
Yeah, I think it was
Washington.
like maybe it was the New York Guardians. I'm not sure, but
Well, I don't think New York's as bad as everybody thinks they are. They looked pretty good in the first week. Um, that I
Seattle
watched.
was terrible.
Seattle has good defense. Their offense needs a little work, but their defense is pretty good from what I've seen. Um,
Tampa Bay, I don't know what's going on with them. They
well,
just
Dallas is all right. I think I've seen
yeah,
Dallas play a couple of times. They're pretty good. They have about 4 or 5 good teams. But I, I know that Houston is the cream of the crop. They've pretty much dominated everybody that they've played or have shown that they've been playing out in front most of the time. I do know that. But I
yeah,
don't
the
know.
quarterback is Andrew Luck's former backup from the Colts, PJ Walker.
Yeah. But as far as watching it, I haven't seen recently. Like last couple of weeks, I haven't really watched it. So,
I
what
did
else?
catch the DC Defender and St. Louis game. I did catch that one.
Yeah.
That was
Okay.
actually a pretty good game.
Yeah. It seems like St. Louis is a home team, not an away team. I've noticed that they're pretty
But
good at
man,
home.
they're
They're
ruckus in the dome, I'll tell you that much.
yeah, well, whatever. I'm not a fan of teams from St. Louis, so um, not a fan of St. Louis fans in general. They think they know everything. They don't know shit. But anyway, um, I have relatives down there. That's why I can say that. Um, what else? What else is going on in the XFL?
Well, they interviewed, I guess, like Jacoby Brissett at the sidelines because he's at the Houston game once, that day.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him what he thought about all the stuff going on with the quarterback situation in Indianapolis. And he kind of says, I'm just doing my job.
Is he though? But anyway,
That's what I said. I'm like, really?
well, I mean, he's playing with the hand he's dealt. So,
That's true.
what else?
That's basically about it
Well,
right
didn't
now that
didn't you
I've
didn't
been.
you have something about? Didn't you have? Um,
There has been some controversial calls, though. I kind of would agree.
the viewership. What about the viewership?
So some of the like FS1, like the viewership's been down on it on ABC
Okay,
actually.
okay,
So it went from like 8 million the first week down to like maybe about 4 million now.
okay. Well, and a lot of that has to do with baseball.
Yeah, with the spring training
Spring
games going
training
on.
games are going on. It's something that they knew was going to happen. Look, the XFL is just one of those things. I think that Vince McMahon wanted to have because people love football. Football is one of those sports. It's one of the. It's the most popular sport in the United States. So he wanted. That was the idea of the XFL in the first place. So he went about it a different way. Is to have that bridge between NFL season and kind of like spring training baseball because the season ends like what, April, like second
Yeah,
weekend.
there's only like
So I
10
mean, like
weeks.
so the season's like over, half over already. So like the
Yeah.
championship games, I think are like the second or third week in April, and that baseball's just starting. So I think that that bridge of football, from February to April, it's giving them football because people love football, and
Right.
those 4 million people that are watching football are your hardcore fans. Do you see what I mean? It's like wrestling. You you
Well, yeah.
you look at the casual fans. Casual fans will watch the Super Bowl. There's what, 31 million viewers, 131 million. I can't remember. I
It
can't
was
remember
something
the numbers.
like that.
But
Yeah.
anyway, there's a lot of casuals in there. They're there to watch it for the commercials. They're not there to watch the game. NFL knows that. That's why the Super Bowl commercials are so important to the Super Bowl. So that's why they do that. So the numbers declining is okay. I think they'll be okay with it because they're still getting 4 million. They're still one of the top rated shows in the afternoon. So I don't take much in stock. I mean, if they start declining weekly, I mean really declining, then I could see them like trying to change things a little bit, I think. But I don't know. I mean, it's a good point. Who knows? I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
Well, that and the NCAA tournament's coming up too, so that's going to be kind of,
Right. Thing that they're going to be battling is with baseball because people will
yeah,
be watching baseball coming out, and a lot of the games that happen. I mean, people can watch games on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever. It is what it is. I mean, I think the viewership, they're doing a pretty good job on the viewership. 4 million viewers during the spring, or you know in non-football season, is pretty good in my opinion.
yeah.
Anything else as far as XFL goes? Baba, what do you think about the declining? I know you're a fan of the XFL. I just haven't watched any games. Do you think it's something for them to worry about, or do you think it's just something that, oh well, it's
No,
football, I don't care?
I wouldn't start worrying until it gets like, 2-1 million ish. That's when I'll start worrying. But well, like I said, a lot of their competition is baseball, and there's a lot of sports on right now that's going to factor into that. So, 4 million, I'd be happy with it.
Yep. No, I get it. I get it. All right. Um. So moving on, the CBA is going on. Didn't they vote on this once already?
Yeah,
What are okay? So first thing, what is in the CBA that is holding up the vote, or are they voting for? What are the key things?
well, there's going to be a 17 game season now,
They passed that.
and then they're going to,
Okay, no, no, I'm asking. They passed that.
yeah, that pass that portion, the owners and the players association, like their community, like the big community, but now they're taking it on to the players, for
Okay,
all the
so
players of the league.
so they're passing on the 17 game season to the players.
That and more money too.
So okay, and what do you mean more money?
Because the minimum wage players, like the veteran minimums are
Okay,
going up for those, guys as well.
okay,
And instead of 55 players, it'll be 57 players now.
okay.
And there's going to be 14 team playoffs now,
Did,
so 7 and
okay,
8.
so my question is, have all of those been passed, or are they being proposed?
It's just down to the players' votes pretty much now.
Now, okay, so we'll talk each one. So those are the three big keys, the key things that they're voting on, right?
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about the 17 game season. I don't want it. Why? Why? Why do we need 17 games? What is the reason that the NFL wants to have 17 games? Did they give a reason why?
More revenue.
Okay, that's it. That's it. That's the only reason. No, I'm asking. I'm not.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's just more
Jesus Christ.
revenue.
Okay, they make enough money as is. They don't need any more. It's like Vince McMahon having 35 matches at WrestleMania. Why do you need to have 35 matches at WrestleMania when you already make enough money? You made your money. You don't need to have everybody show up at WrestleMania. Now, I think it'll get shot down by the players because isn't there something in there that says each player can only play 16 games?
I think so,
See,
yeah.
that won't work. Why the fucking team voted that in? Because look at it. You come down to the 17th game. I'm use this as an example. I think earlier in the year when we talked about this, imagine Aaron Rodgers had played the first 16 games of the season. Okay,
Mm.
he has to sit out one game. That's what that's telling me. He has to sit out one game. What if that game they need to win that game to get into the playoffs? Would you sit Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Do you see my point? That's why I don't think it'll pass. I hope it don't pass. The players are stupid enough to get it to pass. They're dumb. And also I think a lot of that had to do with salaries or contracts and stuff because all contracts are based on 16 games from what I gathered in reading up on it just a little bit. So if they're going to do that, then they have to base their contract off 17 games, so they're going to have to pay them more anyway. And I don't think the NFL thought that through. So,
No,
and
but you know,
I
whatever.
think they'll shoot it down. To be honest with you, that's just me. Your guys' thoughts. What do you
Nah, they
What do you
might
think?
pass it, who knows?
No, what do you think?
I don't think they should have a 17 game season. It's too much on the players and the injuries and everything that they deal with every
Hmm.
year for the safety of the players. I think 16 is more than enough.
Yep, no, I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think 16 games is enough, and it's even amount of games. There's 32 teams. What are they going to add? Four more teams? Because they're going to have to add more teams in order for this to work. That's just my
Yep.
that's just my thought process. Bobbit, what about you?
Okay, so they kind of contradicted that already because if you're going to expand the playoffs, what's the need of a 17th game? Why even have it?
I think well, exactly. I think Sarah hit it on the point. I think it's all about revenue, which makes no sense.
So, okay, let's say the whole team plays 17 games, the whole 16 game season.
Hmm.
Who the fuck are you going to have playing? The water boy?
Yep, that's my point. They're going to have to expand the rosters even further than they already have.
Yeah.
Or you're going to have to sit certain players at certain times because I don't think it'll work. It's just the way football is. It's not a long enough season for them to actually kind of add another game and sit players because every game is important in the NFL, especially for the playoff teams. Now, as far as them expanding to 14 team playoff, I like that idea. Why? Because it gives that team that wins that home field advantage throughout the playoffs that much more important. And
Yeah,
I
because it'll
said
just be
that
the number one seed getting the bye. That's
yes,
it.
yep, and it makes it that much more important, and it makes the playoffs that much more of a, and that's the way it should be. The team that wins, especially if you have a bye somewhere, the team that wins should get the bye, or wins their conference, or wins their division or conference division should get a bye, or wins their conference, or wins their home field, or wins the most games in their conference. That's the way it should work.
So
I like
Baltimore would have got the first round bye basically this year. That's what it would have happened.
Yep.
Pittsburgh would have got the last playoff spot because they would have been the last team, with the
And two, it generates more revenue for the NFL. So if
exactly.
you don't need that 17th game if you do that, I'm all for that. Little give and take usually goes a long way with the NFL.
They need to get rid of like extra games in the preseason. They really only need three. Like honestly, 3 games is more than enough.
Yeah. I think they could cut back the preseason games anyway. That's just
Yeah, 3 would be enough, because it gives like the younger guys time to develop, during the preseason, give
Mhm.
them some time to see how they're going to play it out, and then rush your starters. The starters shouldn't play in the preseason period.
Yeah.
It should just be all like the regular, like the players that might not make it, give them a chance and see if they can make it or not.
Right. I like the 14 team playoff system. The one
I
the
do like that.
I
That's one
think it
thing I
works.
do agree with.
I Heather, what about you? I know you're watching Mr. Bean. What do you think about the 14 team playoff system?
It just it makes everything so convoluted.
What do you mean?
Just everything to go along with the 17 game season and adding more to the playoffs than what they
You're
already
you're
have.
you're only adding one game. That's all you're doing on the playoffs. You're adding one game to a playoff round. You're not adding more games to the season. You're adding one game to the playoff. So
Yeah, so
you're
it'd be three
you're
games
adding
on the
one more
wild
game
card
to the round,
weekend.
and the one team gets a bye. So essentially, it's the same. It's an eight-man playoff bracket, is what it is, with two byes, right? Fucking Mr. Bean, man. You don't even need to have. It's not. We can't even hear it. It's just him.
That's why it's the perfect show to have on right now because you don't even need the sound
But
on
it's
to get
distracting me because he's sitting there going.
it.
So do you still feel the same way, or
It could work, but you also have to sit there and factor in player injuries. Because usually by the time they get to the playoffs, there's a lot of players injured.
again, I think you're reaching. I get what you're saying, but then why have playoffs? Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, man, she's so fucking caught up in Mr. Bean. But Bob, what do you think about the 14 team playoff?
I like it because it might just you'll get some teams in there.
I'm gonna have to ask you to say that one more time.
Yeah, it was like all jumbly.
No, it was he turned into fucking BB-8. Go ahead.
Basically, I like it.
Oh, well, okay, you could have elaborated a little bit more. It's not your fault. It's your internet.
Uh,
But what did you say? You like it? Why?
because you'll get more of those teams that you never expected it in there to possibly win it all.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I can see that. And it makes it that much more. It makes the end of the year, it makes the playoffs and the whole season that much more um, dramatic and in tune to watch. It'll make it that much better, I think. In my opinion, I think it would. And then the last thing on the CBA is the veteran contracts. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. But the veteran contracts, what is the minimum they get paid now?
I think it's like 1 point something million. I'm not entirely sure,
For
but
1 year?
I think so.
Even if you suck as a veteran, you get 1 point whatever million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they
no.
would raise it to 2.5, I think it was.
You sign the guy and then fucking cut his ass because he sucks.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, come on, man. I either that or sign the guy later on in the year to prorate it, so that way you don't have to pay him the full 2 million. I don't think that that's a good idea for them to do, to be honest with you, because they're going to do it, and that's the players are going to want that because it's more money in their pocket. But Jesus Christ, you suck, and you're going to get 2 point whatever $1 million for sitting on the fucking bench. Not this guy. Not this guy. Maybe if they make the team, give him 2 point some million. But he has to make the fucking team first. I mean, pay him more than the rookies. I get that. The rookie that's a given. But what about you guys?
They're getting paid
I
more
agree.
than
Yeah, they are. What's that?
I agree with you. I think it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of pointless if you ask me.
I think there should be a minimum, but they don't need to raise it. It should stay where it is because you're not getting on the fucking field. You're getting paid $2 million a year to sit on the fucking bench. I'd love to fucking be that guy. Give me $2 million. I'll sit on the bench. I don't care. I don't need to fucking play. That's all. That's essentially what that's telling me. That just makes no sense. Bobbit, what about you?
I'm in the wrong career.
No shit. Too bad I don't. Too bad I tore my fucking knee. Why can't I? This motherfucker is putting on swimming trunks while he's wearing a suit and tie. But anyway,
he doesn't realize the guy that's sitting there is blind.
I agree with you. That's a whole nother issue, Aaron. But it is what it is.
You've taken everything out of there.
Um, so that being said, that's pretty much it with the CBA. Is there anything else with the CBA, Sarah?
Yeah, it might reduce the salary cap for this year.
They might reduce the salary cap. Okay. A
By
lot of
like
teams don't
seven
even
hundred million
use.
dollars.
For me personally, I think each team should use the salary cap, all of it. If they don't, then they need to give it back so that you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should at least spend like maybe 60 to 70% of it,
No,
and at
no,
least,
no. They're giving them. They're allotted so much money. Pay all of it. Pay them all of it. Make them use all of it. If they don't, then they get fucking penalized. A luxury tax, which essentially is the cost of it. They need to force them to use all of the money, not just some of it, not 60 to 70%, all of it, all of it. I
I
did
know the
see that.
Colts are going to be spending some money this year.
Say it again.
I know because the Colts, it's their fourth year technically with all the money that they've saved up, so they have to spend, I think, a certain percentage of it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So they're probably going to sign some people from what I've been hearing. So
Well, they kind of have to. That's what the salary cap is. That's what the last CBA was all about. They had to spend a certain amount of money in order to, or else they got penalized or whatever.
yeah, they're looking at defense and like a quarterback. That's what they're kind of looking at, and or maybe and a receiver too, possibly as well.
All right. So we're gonna talk about free agency now. I'm gonna go. We're gonna talk about the top 25. I'm not gonna talk about all 50 of these fucking guys because I could really care less for any of these fucking guys. I could see a couple of them showing up in Green Bay, but the 50th person rated person on this list is Jimmy Ward from San Francisco. I think he'll sign with San Francisco, re-sign with San Francisco. Eric Ebron from the Colts. Why did the Colts not re-sign him? Are they stupid?
No, because they re-signed Jack Doyle.
Like I said, the guy's 26. He had one of the best years he's ever had last year, and they let him go to free agency. This is why the Colts will never go anywhere. They released probably one of the best tight ends in the league. Why? Man, they just let a gem go because he fits into what they do. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I heard that the Bears and the Cowboys want to have him.
The Bears and the I understand they want him, but the Bears and the Cowboys don't fucking need him.
If
Especially,
anybody needs him, we do because we got rid of Olsen.
but I think a lot of teams are starting to be scheme fitting teams because the scheme fitting because Eric Ebron's a vertical slot receiver. He's not a very good blocker, so he's more of a receiver slot guy, slot receiver type guy. Like a Jimmy, he's a young version of Jimmy Graham. You remember how good Jimmy Graham was when he was
Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah.
younger? Okay, that's how good Eric Ebron is. Greg Zerline at number 48. He's a kicker who gives a shit. Somebody that I'm actually not surprised Green Bay released him is Blake Martinez.
He needs to go. He was not that good.
Well, he's good, but he doesn't fit into what Green Bay does.
I think I could see him going to Cleveland
But he doesn't fit into what Cleveland does either. That's the thing.
or the Jets, maybe.
He might fit in with the Jets. He's more of a run stopper than he is. He's a Green Bay's scheme is pass coverage with their inside linebackers. So
Yeah.
and he's not overly fast. He's more of a run stopper. But he's out of fucking position all the fucking time. Ndamukong Suh, number 46. He's 33. He's getting up there in age. He might.
Dallas would be a good fit for him.
Yeah, I think any team would be a good fit for him because he's versatile.
Yeah, that's
He's one of
true.
those guys that could fit into any scheme. Um, Andrew Whitworth, offensive tackle from the Rams. I
Oh, he's
would
going back to the Rams.
um Whitworth. This is what it says. Whitworth plugged along well on the left side again, proving to be ultra durable with his savvy blocking presence, but at his age, he's a short term solution. I would not give him long term money. I might
No, like
sign
a
him to
one or
a
two
1 year
year
deal.
deal would be okay.
I signed him to a one year deal, and that's it. Joe Schobert, excuse me, from
He
Cleveland.
was good for Cleveland. I don't know why Cleveland's letting him.
Uh, it's Cleveland.
They get rid of their
They're
coaches.
probably well,
Green,
they probably changed their fucking scheme again. It's probably going to a four
Green
three.
Bay or the Raiders would be a good fit for him.
Green Bay is out of the running for him. They don't want him.
The Raiders would be a good fit.
Depending on what scheme the Raiders run. Uh, Von Bell from the Saints is a free agent. If I was the Saints, I'd re-sign him.
Yep.
Michael Pierce from the Ravens.
He should be resigned.
Here's yet another stout 3-4 run stuffing nose tackle to add to the market. Only one with less pass rush punch than either Reader or Hargrave. He should be resigned by the Ravens, but the Ravens are so fucking stacked at fucking off defensive line that they could afford to let him go. Kenyon Drake from the Cardinals.
He
He
had a
was
good year for
he
the
was
Cardinals.
he was traded from Baltimore, or no, from Miami to Arizona for some draft picks. They might. They've got David Johnson, so the Cardinals don't really need him. Ryan Bulaga, I think the Packers might re-sign him.
They should. I
They
think.
might. I'm not saying they will. They might. He is injury prone. He's at number 40. Jaron Reed, defensive tackle from Seattle. He might resign. He might not resign because he might be a 3-4 kind of guy. Shelby Harris from the Denver Broncos. He's
The
an
Colts are
Akeem Hicks.
heavily interested in him.
He's like Akeem Hicks. He's an Akeem Hicks type of player with his ability to get to the passer inside from a 4-3 or a 3-4. If that's what Indianapolis is all about, then go get him. But
And he's
I,
young too. He's only like 28, 29, I
he's
think, at the most.
28. He's 28, but is he really as good as Akeem Hicks? I don't think he is. Javon Hargrave, would you pay top money for him though?
No, I'd give him maybe 10 or 12 million would be about right, you know.
That's a lot of fucking money.
But that's just the way the market's going, so I get it, you know.
I don't know if I'd spend. There's way
I like
more.
Hargrave though, dude. I like Hargrave. He's pretty good.
I think he'll end up staying in Pittsburgh. DJ Reader, he might resign with Houston. Emmanuel Sanders, he might go somewhere else, but you look at he's a receiver.
I could see Green Bay or maybe Indianapolis picking
I
him up.
I could see Green Bay. I don't know if Indianapolis really needs another receiver.
We do.
You do. You just
Yeah.
drafted one in the second round last year. You've got T.Y. Hilton. You've got Corey. What is it? Rogers. I mean, I don't
He's
know,
not
man.
they're not bringing him back and they're not bringing a couple of the other receivers back for Indianapolis either.
Well, I mean, they still have pretty good receiving core. They don't need another number one guy.
We don't need no running backs, that's for
No,
sure.
you don't. I mean, you might need a backup, but you might. Yeah, receivers. I don't think you need a receiver because he's gonna want to be the top guy. And if you're only going to get him 40 catches a year, that's not where he wants to go. He doesn't want to go to a team where he's not going to get the ball. Wide receivers are prima donnas. Just saying. Um, Kyle Van Noy. Yeah, I think he might.
I think that he wants to go to the Giants. There's been mutual
Well,
interest.
what it says here, he has an awesome Swiss Army knife in Bill Belichick's defense. Playing a blend of outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and defensive end. He simply gets all over the field to make plays from all angles. It's just hard to see him performing as well away from the Patriots. And that's the thing. Unless it's a copycat scheme like the Lions, the Dolphins, the Giants, or the Titans. And I don't see that happening. I see him resigning. He doesn't want to go to a loser, unless he just wants to play for money. I don't see that happening. Number 33, Austin Hooper from the Atlanta Falcons. Why are they releasing him? I do not know.
I don't get it either. It's like, why is Atlanta getting rid of your one of your best tight ends? It just doesn't make sense to me.
He had 75 catches for 785 yards in only 13 games last year.
I would take him where Green Bay could take him. Green Bay would be a great fit for Austin Hooper.
Yeah. So would Eric Ebron. I think Green Bay could probably go there. Dante Fowler, an edge rusher from the Rams. I could see them going. I could see him probably staying in Los Angeles unless they drafted somebody. Bud
They're pretty
Dupree.
cap strapped right now, the Rams are, so
Well, they're releasing people. Well, get rid of fucking Clay Matthews. That'll free up some money. Bud Dupree.
he's
Running.
staying with Pittsburgh. I think they're
The
gonna
Steelers
franchise.
want to extend him big time and could, in the meantime, lean on the franchise tag, which that's what I'm seeing happen. Robbie Anderson. Um,
I think he's gonna leave the Jets.
Anderson is much like Perriman, given his spike also came in December, but he's more of a pure field stretcher coming off 52 catch, 779-yard, 5 TD
That would be
season.
another Green Bay fit
The
too.
supply of wideout help is limited enough where demand can get him a generous deal. Yeah, him, Emmanuel Sanders. There's some receivers out there. Matthew Judon. I think the Ravens don't need him. They can let him go. They're pretty stocked at fucking outside linebacker and defensive line. Rashad Perriman. It's another guy I think Green Bay could get.
The Colts would be a pretty good fit
He'd
for
be a
him.
good fit for them. Again, you don't want to overload your receivers. He's one of those guys that's going to demand the ball because he's rated higher than Emmanuel Sanders. So Devin McCourty,
Mm, that's a tough one.
he's getting older. Um,
I could see,
He's resigning.
New England moving on without him.
I could see them re-signing him for a hometown deal, a hometown discount, but they don't want to. They don't want to go too far. Number 26 is Melvin Gordon. Why he's not in the top 25, I don't know. I think he is one of the
I think
best free
Miami
agent.
or Tampa Bay could use him.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
Houston
Tampa
too.
Bay. No, Tampa Bay's pretty good at running back. They're pretty solid. They don't need.
Miami
They don't.
really could use him.
Miami could use him. What other teams need a running back?
Mm,
Chicago. Chicago could use
Houston
him.
could. They could use a running back.
Yeah, they could. They could. So we're gonna talk extensively about 25 through 21, or at least where we think they're going. Number 25, Leonard Williams, defensive tackle, New York Giants. He's also a defensive end in a 3-4 scheme. He's 25 years old. It says Williams has been more than a little disappointing with his explosive impact up front. And this is coming from the Sporting News, by the way, so credit them. Um, with his explosive impact up front, given he was a number 6 pick in the 2015 draft, prompting his crosstown trade from the Giants want to bring him back as a cornerstone for the rebuild for Dave Gettleman and new defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. I do see them re-signing him unless he can get big money elsewhere.
I think they want Leonard Williams back. I think the Giants are going to get him back. I think they'll probably get him about 14, $15 million
I don't care about money. I just need to know where they're signing. Where do you think they're signing? I think he's re-signing with the
I think he's
Giants.
going back to the Giants.
I know this is a guy that I know Carolina would love to have because he's a pass rushing 3-4 guy. Green Bay could use him because he's a 3-4 pass rushing guy, and that would solidify their defense. The problem with Green Bay is I would much rather have a defensive tackle, a run stopping guy. They already have a pass rushing guy in Kenny Clark.
Michael
Bobbit,
Pierce would be a pretty good fit for the Packers too.
he would. Bobbit, what do you? I don't want Green Bay to go spending. They need to get a receiver. They need a receiver
The
first.
receivers, a must for you guys.
Even
Receiver and
though they're,
tight
they're,
end,
the,
I would
the, the,
say.
the receiver, the draft for receivers is pretty stacked
Yeah,
this
it's
year.
really good.
Bob, what do you think?
I think you should go to Carolina because
But
we need somebody like that.
okay, I know he
Bad.
should go to. You want him to go there, but where do you think he's going?
I don't know. I really don't know.
You think he's going to stay with the Giants, or do you think he's going to sign somewhere else?
I think he's going to sign somewhere else.
Where do you think?
Maybe Philadelphia.
They could use him. Okay. Number 24, Jack Conklin, offensive tackle, Tennessee, 25 years of age. Back to being fully healthy, the 2016 number 8 pick in the draft. Rebounded into form as a rock of a right tackle, paving the way for Henry. He is likely to be locked up by Tennessee, which is what he wants. Now, Tennessee is going to look to pay him big money. Or he's looking for big money, but he might take a discount. I think he's going to stay in Tennessee. I don't think he's going anywhere. Because Tennessee, they're going to be a threat next year. With how they did in the playoffs, I think they're going to be one of those teams that to look out for next year. Sarah?
I think I could see him re-signing with the Tennessee Titans, but the Jets are really interested in him too. So
The thing is he wants to stay in Tennessee.
I think he'd be better off staying in Tennessee, personally.
He's got a running back that he loves blocking for, and
Probably one of the best running backs in football.
he's up there. I think he just had a good year. We'll see how he does this next year, because he could have a down year. Who knows? Um, Bobbitt. This is honestly a guy that Carolina could get too. I mean, Carolina could really get a lot of guys here, but I don't think it's happening. What do you think, Bobbitt?
I think he's gonna stay.
You think he's going to stay? I think so too.
Yeah.
Number 23, Chris Harris, cornerback, Denver Broncos, 30 years of age. The thing about this guy is him and Aqib Talib were the two best shutdown corners in Denver. I mean, they were really fucking good. And there is no other word that I could describe. Probably one of the best quarterback tandems in the league, besides aside from Shelton Brown and Lito Shepard when Philadelphia had their elite cornerback. And they had Brian Dawkins and all those guys. Um, Harris has shown some signs of slowing down, but overall thrust into more of a traveling shutdown role in Denver's new defensive scheme with Vic Fangio. He responded well to the point he has the fine appeal of a short-term deal. I think they're going to move on from him because didn't what did you say happened? Who did Denver pick up?
They picked AJ Boye from the Jaguars.
Okay, so I see them moving on from Chris Harris, and I see Chris Harris maybe moving on to. He might go to New York. I mean, because they're thinking of releasing Tremaine Johnson, or they are releasing Tremaine Johnson, who they paid big money to. So he might sign a deal with them, which is why the Jets released him, that Tremaine Johnson. So
I I could see Philadelphia or Houston.
where do you think he's going though? I think he's going to the Jets.
I think he's going to go to Philadelphia.
But doesn't Philadelphia have a solid cornerback
No, their corners
stable?
aren't that great.
Really? They had one of the. I don't know about that. They have good. They have good young corners. They were young. That was the problem. I don't know if they'd go and sign a guy. I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, it's your pick. I think he's going to the Jets because the Jets released Tremaine Johnson for a reason. They don't. The Jets don't have any room to release anybody. Bobbit, what do you think?
I don't really know. It's hard to tell where he's gonna go, honestly.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we're just throwing pot shots out there. Who knows? He might resign with Denver. We don't know.
I can see him doing that.
Yeah, I could see him doing it too. But they just picked up that Boye from Jacksonville. He's a good young corner. He's what, 24? No, how old?
Something like that. Yeah.
He's older than that, I think. Um, Number 22, Brandon Scherf, guard, Washington Redskins. In college, he played tackle. He's a three-time Pro Bowler. He's the number 5 pick in the 2015 draft, and he isn't too far behind Tooney with his powerful work at a right guard for Washington. I think he might stay in Washington. I they need to protect Haskins, and they might pay him the money. I don't know,
Yeah, I think he's going to stay in Washington.
Bob. But this is right in your neck of the woods. What do you think?
I say he's gonna stay in Washington.
Okay. All right. And the final one, number 21, and we'll do 20 through 16 next week, and then so on and so forth. Um, and if they come off the board, we'll talk about that. Number 21, Eric Armstead, defensive end, San Francisco, 26 years of age. The 2015 first rounder from Oregon finally busted out big time with his massive frame at 6'7", 290 pounds, with 10 sacks in Robert Salah's 4.3, or one more than the total of his previous 4 seasons. He's probably still more of a solid complementary pass rusher than a transcendent one. This is why I don't see him getting big money. And if somebody does pay this guy big money, he. The thing about it is with him, they had Joey Bosa. They had who was the other guy? Who Buckner.
Yeah, they
Uh,
have Nick Bosa, Buckner.
they have they have their front seven. They're so stacked that he'll be gone from San Francisco. I honestly think that if he is double teamed, he's a non-factor. So what I'm saying is if he's the focal point, if they go out and get him at free agency as a defensive end or a defensive tackle, he's going to get double teamed all the time on a team that has complementary players. Unlike in San Francisco, they had to you pick who you're going to double team, and then somebody's going to run free anyway. So with this guy, he probably will. He can fit into a 3-4, but he's probably going to fit more into a 4-3. And I honestly, I don't know. Baltimore could pick him up, but they're so stacked. Detroit, they need something.
Mm-hmm.
He might go to Detroit, but I don't know. They got rid of Damian Harrison, who is one of their best off defensive linemen. So I don't know,
Yeah, they got
Sarah.
rid of Snacks. That's what they call him, Snacks Harris.
I I give a shit what his name is. What do you think, Sarah? Where do you think he's going?
This is a tough one. I don't know. Like my heart's saying that he should stay in San Francisco, but
If he stays in San Francisco, it's San Francisco just solidified themselves. But what do you say?
I really think he would. I don't know. That's a tough one.
What was it again?
Eric Armstead. Bobbitt, what about you?
I see him staying.
You see him staying in San Francisco and getting limited playing time for big money. Fuck that shit. I wouldn't pay that
No,
guy. If
I think I'm gonna go with Indianapolis on this one, just out
okay,
outside the box.
okay. I I I'm going with Detroit because he would be. As Mike, I know Mike Daniels got released, but who knows? We'll see. We'll see how it pans out with the players. Is there
It'll be
anything
interesting to
else?
see what Brady and Rivers go. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll get to that if they aren't gone. Is there anything else out there that we could talk about, or is that pretty much it?
Well, I know that the Colts and Philip Rivers have mutual interest
Okay, elaborate.
because he's friends with the coach of the Indianapolis Colts because he was the offensive coordinator out in San Diego,
Okay,
and the offensive coordinator that we have in Indianapolis was his quarterbacks coach in San Diego.
okay. I'm gonna say this. I think Philip Rivers wants to win a Super Bowl, and I don't think Indianapolis is.
We're going to.
No, I'm not saying they're ever never going to. I don't see them winning a Super Bowl within the next 4 years. They have a good running back. They have a good offensive line. Their defense is the problem.
Their linebackers are pretty solid.
You need more than just linebackers, though, Sarah. You gotta have more than just linebackers. You can have the greatest. You can have Ray Lewis. You can have three Ray Lewis's as linebackers, and that's not going to win you a Super Bowl. I think they're a few years away, and I don't know if Philip Rivers has enough time in him to do that. What, he's 40, right?
He's 38.
I don't know if he's got enough in him to play until 40, 42, 43 years old. Tom Brady's been lucky. He's been protected.
No,
He's a good quarterback, but he's a system guy. We'll see, though. I mean, if he goes there, then Indianapolis better get to fucking working free agency because they need help.
Oh, we are.
They need help, and it's not just in one spot because last year proved it.
Oh,
And
I
I
know.
don't.
I
And
know it's not like
I'm
I
not.
don't know anybody.
I'm just saying. And the thing is Andrew Luck. Philip Rivers is not as young as Andrew Luck is. That's the thing. Philip Rivers isn't as good as Andrew Luck. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I don't think Andrew Luck was all that great.
Well, I think what's going to happen is we probably would pick him up and we would draft a quarterback to sit behind him.
I would hope so, or just draft a quarterback.
We're looking at this Jordan Love and this Justin Herbert kid from Oregon.
I would not take Jordan Love in the first round. I would take the sure pick, and I think Justin Herbert is a sure pick.
I like Justin Herbert, actually.
I fucking hate his ass because of what he did in the fucking Rose Bowl.
Hey, your running back had the best combine, though. You got to give him his credit.
Yeah, well, I've watched Jonathan Taylor play for 3 years. Why he's dropped, his stock is dropping, I don't fucking know.
Because they're devaluing the running back position. That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, Miami needs a running back.
Kansas City could use a running back.
I don't think so. I think they were pretty solid at running. They got Damian Williams, and they just drafted a kid last year. He's pretty good. I think they're fine. I think. Where do I see Joe Burrow fitting? He's going to Cincinnati, but I think it's going to be a mistake. I don't think he's going to be the answer. I hate to say that. They should draft an offensive lineman first,
yes.
then draft a quarterback. I think they have like 3 picks in the first round. If they are sure that they're going to be able to get an offensive tackle in the first round, then I would say they would go with Joe Burrows. But without Joe Burrows, I just don't see him being. I don't think he's the number 1 pick. Justin Herbert, I think, is better than he is. From watching Justin Herbert, think about this. LSU, you look at who they have and who's going in the first round. Justin Herbert better fucking be throwing 60 fucking touchdowns and only 5 interceptions because. And it's the same thing that I said with fucking Johnny Manziel, Baker Mayfield. You look at these teams. Justin Herbert elevated his team. Joe Burrow, for me personally, got elevated by the players around him. That makes sense. I'm not saying Joe Burrow isn't a good quarterback. I think he's good. I think he's a first round guy, but I don't think he's the number 1 pick. He shouldn't be, but he will be.
Tua is definitely a first round quarterback.
Joe Burrow will get picked. He'll get picked in the first round. Cincinnati will take him, but they better, and if they don't, they better draft offensive linemen because they don't have any to protect him.
Oh, their offensive line is trash.
Tua is going to be should be a second or third round pick. Tua can throw the ball, but I don't know how accurate he really is. Again, the players around him or his receivers elevated Tua. When it gets closer to the draft, we'll start talking about that, which is just a little over a month away. So
I think's most underrated guy is Jalen Hurts from Oklahoma.
he should be a first round pick, but he's not going. He's probably going to be like a fifth or sixth round pick.
That Jacob Eason's pretty solid too from Washington.
He's right now projected to be a second round pick. So, but that being said, I'm going to end the show here. I got stuff and things to do. I need to eat. I haven't eaten yet. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for being here. Trust me, Aaron. Trust me, he will get picked. Be the first pick. It would be a mistake. He will be, who is the quarterback? Jamarcus Russell. Remember him? That's what Joe Burrow reminds me of. So with that being said, everybody have a great night. And we will talk to you next week. We'll do this again next week. We'll talk about the next set of free agents, and if there's news. If there's not news, we'll talk about the next 10 free agents. So that being said, everybody have a great night, and we will talk to you later.
You
Bye.
too.
Hate it when she fucking does that.